Today, we are very excited to have Sarah Shealy here with us. Sarah Shealy is a certified nurse, midwife, menopause, and postnatal recovery specialist with a background in academic and clinical women's health. Her work focuses on reproductive transitions across the lifespan. Through her clinical practice, Hey Ellie, and her educational platform, the Meno Learning Lab, Sarah integrates neuroscience, endocrinology, and trauma-informed care to help clinicians translate complex science into more effective, compassionate care. She is co-creator alongside Dr. Oscar Sellerach of Postpartum Essentials, a comprehensive course for families.
Wow.
That's quite the title and quite the intro. So we're really happy to have you on and to talk to you today about perimenopause and how it directly impacts relationships.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to talk about this topic with you guys.
And as we were chatting earlier, you mentioned that sometimes you will have a woman's partner accompany them to appointments with you. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I have a private practice now that's focused on perimenopause and menopause. And as we know, what's happening in somebody's personal health affects the relationship. And that can go, of course, in either direction. I specialize in women's health, so I don't really have much to offer to men in terms of their own health. But I can certainly explain to men what's going on with women. And I think what I see a lot of the time is that what happens for us individually is affecting everything in the family, whether it's the primary relationship or relationships with kids or whatever. All of the things that come into play when we're navigating a tricky, what we call this is a neuroendocrine transition, right? So the changing of the brain from having regular cycles to those cycles going away. And before they go away, they go through this like crazy storm cycle. And it can be very disorienting to the person that it's happening to. And if their partner doesn't really understand what's going on, it's hard for them to bring a compassionate lens to it. I see so many couples where the men really do care and really do want to be involved and to be supportive, but they simply don't know. None of us ever learned this stuff, actually. You know, the reality is that right now, folks that understand perimenopause now still are it's like a very small percentage of practitioners that really understand what's going on. If a partner wants to come in to a visit, I welcome that. And we get a lot of progress in understanding. And also, you know, going forward, a health plan that I'm going to create for a woman is going to affect everything about how she feels. This is really a phase where we have to put more time and attention and discipline into how we care for ourselves. We really could get away with a lot, right? In our 20s and 30s, we could do whatever. We'd eat whatever we want, stay out all night, you know, whatever, no problem. But like, it really comes home, you know, in our 40s and then certainly after that like, oh, we actually have to bring some more discipline and attention to how we are caring for ourselves. And a lot of that goes to what's the capacity in the relationship? What's the capacity for me to prioritize my own health? Is that also important to my partner? Do I have support from my partner in doing that? Because if you don't, that often is a sign that maybe that's not the right partner for you, right? This is like a huge life transitional period of time. And so we see that people shift all kinds of things in their lives.
As a partner, we're used to solving a problem a certain way, and it's always worked up to this point. Now, none of those methods work. So we may start taking it personally, that maybe it is us. We're the ones at fault, and we feel less attractive or we feel less capable as a partner. That's a tough transition on this side of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally understand it. And from the woman's perspective, everything that we used to know how to do also doesn't seem to be working. So the ways that we used to maybe regulate our nervous system, the ways we used to exercise, eat, care for ourselves, like everything has changed. And so in many ways, we don't even recognize ourselves. So not feeling like myself is actually a symptom of perimenopause.
Yeah. So when you see men with your patients, do they seem confused? Are they willing to learn? Are they eager to learn? Or what is a reaction that you get when a partner does come?
Yeah, I mean, it runs the gamut, right? Because people are so different. But if they're showing up to a visit with me, they care. You know what I mean? Like, number one, they care about what's being said in the visit. They want to know, they want to have an understanding. They often have questions. They want to know, like, is it fixable? Are we going to get past this? Is it going to get better? It feels very supportive to the woman to know that, like, her partner is with her at that level. I'd love to see more men in visits. I wouldn't say like I see it all the time. I welcome it. And I think, maybe your work will help just kind of spread the word that, like, yeah, actually it is important for us, especially in intimate relationships. Because, like, if you're going to the doctor and I don't know what you're talking about with your doctor or your provider, I don't know, it just feels weird, right? Like, you're sharing a bed with someone, you're sharing a life with someone, you're waking up with them, and I feel like there's a certain level of intimacy that goes with sharing health information that builds intimacy.
I definitely see that. And of course, during this time, there are many different things going on in both people's lives. I mean, it's a challenging time for many different aspects, but that's why for a woman to have support for her partner really in one of the most difficult times in her life, one of the most confusing times of her life, if she feels like this is her struggle alone and she has to battle this by herself, it's going to create, I think, a lot of distance in the relationship, as the man is just witnessing her being irritable, exhausted, forgetting things, seeming like she's checked out, where really she's just struggling to hold it all together. But if he doesn't understand that that's happening, then it can just look like marital problems.
100%. You really touched on an important piece here. When you look at all the things that happen to women in their 40s and 50s, you've got the highest divorce rate, you've got the highest rate of, this is really sad, but suicide. You've got the highest rates of, mental health disorders, severe depression, anxiety. Things are happening for men as well, for sure, right? Because by your 40s, as a man, you are expected to have been to some certain level of your career, and you're kind of facing the reality of whether you're actually there or not, right? If you are there, you probably have a lot of pressure to keep getting up there. If you're not there, you have a lot of like self-confidence issues that are going to come up. And then for women, as we are in this storm, what I call the perimenopausal storm cycle, often women also these days, right, have climbed the corporate ladder and are in leadership positions and have a lot of people relying on them, or in some cases are like the source for supporting the family. So there's a lot of pressure. Women's nervous systems are like biologically made for endurance, for strength, right, for raising children, like getting through hardship, whatnot, but there's a limit. And a lot of what we're able to do and achieve and handle and juggle is supported by our normal menstrual cycle, because the normal menstrual cycle has a very important piece to it, which is a once a month estrogen peak. And that once a month estrogen peak is like a little reset button for the entire body. And that's why our cardiovascular risk compared to men is lower until perimenopause. And that's when it starts to creep up. And when it doesn't show up, that dip in estrogen is what causes inflammation. And that inflammation acts throughout the body. And so some of the most challenging symptoms of perimenopause are the brain symptoms, right? So the forgetfulness, the irritability, the sleep, do people really all have to be so dumb today? Does everyone really need to breathe and chew like that, right? The sensitivity to hearing, the sensitivity to smells, like all of these things are part of that neuroendocrine transition that the brain's like an estrogen hog, right? The brain runs on estrogen. And if we don't get that reset button hit every month, the brain suffers. If we're not treated, if we don't use estrogen, postmenopausal women have same cardiovascular risk factor as men. So the metabolism is, of course, connected to that. And for many people, this weight gain that happens seemingly out of nowhere, I'm not doing anything different. I'm still doing, my workouts that I have been doing forever. I'm eating the same. We're eating fine, and then people will start to do things like, well, I'm going to stop eating so much. The reality is that if I'm gaining weight and I don't know why, and I don't know how to deal with it, I don't feel as confident in my body. Thus, when we engage in intimacy, I'm not going to come in feeling like that sexy, vital, vibrant kind of, thing that we used to feel. I think most men just really love to be with their women naked and in the bed and doing their thing. And they don't necessarily mind if there's a little extra, here and there, because it's like they kind of like it most. Obviously, everyone's different. But if the partner's not able to come in with that confidence, then the intimacy suffers. And then the man might feel, it's me, right? Because what else could it be, right? And then if you're starting already with some other kind of, whatever else might be in the mix, that can become a thing.
In my book, Dude, Where's My Wife, I do address that a lot of the times women, they need to feel safe. They need to feel seen. They need to feel like remembered. So even it translates into the bedroom that the foreplay starts at breakfast, it's a hand on the shoulder, like just a moment of like, I still see you. And I think that's what women, that's the biggest turn on, is to be seen and to be appreciated and to be reminded that you are still you are still beautiful, you are still loved. And I think that a man might feel that when a woman is pulling away from all of these stressors, that's his cue to like step back, like, oh, she needs space. I think during that time, it's a time for the man to lean in.
I think I just stay consistent with respect and love and consideration, not so demanding on my needs, but demand on her needs to feel warm towards me. Because she's an iceberg on her own during this time. Because of all these things we've discussed. It's my thing to warm that up a little bit.
It can feel very isolating to be the woman in perimenopause, because you feel disconnected even from yourself. And so then if you feel like you can't get connected with your partner, or your partner's not available to you, it can be really heartbreaking, right? Because it's sort of like you can really have a sense of abandonment. So I think 100% that, women love, the thing about having good sex, right, for women is you've got to feel safe. Number one, right? This is the biggest sex organ right here. And I tell everyone that, because the other big piece that for some people, what shows up first in perimenopause is a loss of libido or painful intercourse. So these are two very big ones that are common in perimenopause.